This is a 90mm macro, which most brothers would call a bad. What's up guys, Mark here. In this video, I want to share my honest feedback on the Sony 90mm macro and why I feel it's a beast of a lens. So here's what we're going to cover. Number one, my use case and the reason I purchased it. Number two, the build quality, weight, and some of the buttons. Number three, the image quality, which is going to be video focused. Number four, a few niggles. And yeah, my cousins in the UK, y'all know what that word means. And number five, we're gonna wrap it up with a summary. So number one, my use case and the reason why I purchased this lens. I picked up this guy because creating product videos is a passion of mine. And for about 80 to 90% of the heavy lifting, my 24mm and 24 to 105mm get most of the court time. But what about the other 10 to 20%? Now that's where the 90mm macro carves out a place that the others cannot go. Now let me tell you, this is not a do-it-all lens. For comparison, the 90mm is similar to Ben Wallace or Dennis Rodman, who played in the NBA. Those guys couldn't score if they wanted to, but what they could do was rebound, and that they did very well. This lens can't rebound, but the lens is similar. It does not give two monkey flips about wide or medium shots, but up close is where it puts the work in. This lens can get up in your stuff like a nosy neighbor.
Everything okay here?
Mind your own damn business, Gene.
So if your case is similar to mine, a 90mm macro equivalent might be something you should consider. Number two, let's talk about the build quality and the weight and the switches and buttons. The lens has a lightweight and solid body, and it feels and looks like it's metal, but it ain't. This joker is actually plastic. And if I hadn't looked it up, I would have sworn it was metal. But now that I think about it, the lightweight is a dead giveaway. The lens is just a tad bit long hanging off my FX3 and my A7 IV. But when compared to other 90 to 100 macros from Canon and Nikon, they all actually follow this same form factor. So I'm not tripping about that. The lens is supposed to be weather sealed, but I could not find a gasket on the lens mount area no matter how hard I look. Just ain't there, so take that for what it's worth. So what that means is don't get this bad boy wet. The lens comes in at the bantamweight class of 602 grams, which is the lightest of all of its peers from other brands. It also comes with a standard focus hold button. I really enjoy this feature on all Sony glass. It also has an optical steady shot toggle switch, which turns the optical steady shot on and off. There's also a focus limiter switch, which is supposed to help prevent the lens from hunting through the entire focus range. Then there's the focus ring, or what I have nicknamed the clutch. Changing from manual focus to autofocus on this bad boy is not with a switch. It's a massive focus ring, which works by the user pushing up for autofocus and down for manual focus. This is a great feature to have due to the narrow depth of field on macro lenses. Oh, and I almost forgot about the focus range limiter thing. If you have the lens, give it a try and see if it works, especially for video with autofocus enabled. My limited testing shows using the limiter does help with focus acquisition, but that's about it. This lens can and will hunt like most Texans during deer season. So if you can give it some help, it will need it. Number three, image quality. So you know what they say, right? A picture says 1,000 words. The footage that this lens captures for video is freaking bananas. Here's some sample footage I captured with the lens that shows the amount of detail it can produce. Enough said. Number four, a few issues or niggles. For video, the autofocus is not so great for fast-moving close subjects. I tried jacking around with the focus limiter during video and it did not make the hunting worse, but the improvements were minimal at best. I did notice the most improvements with photos, but that's not my use case. Now, autofocus for slow-moving subjects was much better and worked as expected. In the video with the green spider, I had autofocus enabled and the spider tracked, and it hunted the entire time. Now, to be fair, there was a lot of wind that day, and I'm certain the autofocus would do better when the subject is not dancing around like a toddler needing to use the potty. So this is not a deal breaker, as I use manual focus for my product shots 99% of the time anyway. Another thing, the price. Dropping almost a full stack for this guy is not terrible, but considering it came out almost 10 years ago? Come on, man. All right, y'all. So in summary, the 90mm macro gets the Bootsy Badass Award for being a specialist in the area of showing fine details of your subject. Key features like OSS to help with handheld footage, the focus limiter to help reduce hunting, and the clutch to help nail focus when going straight manual. When you combine all these, this helps any video or macro shooter's life much easier to capture the shot. The few niggles like focus hunting and the hidden weather sealing gasket can easily be worked around by knowing your subject and not taking this bad boy out in the rain. With that being said, I think we're done. So you guys stay creative and have fun out there. And in the words of the infamous Bootsy Badass, Gas tank on E, but all drinks on me. Wipe me down.